Do you know why the rich keep getting richer, while the poor struggle with the same paycheck every month? It's not luck. It's not because they work harder. It's because of something far more powerful, their mindset about money. In today's video, we're diving deep into Rich Dad, Poor Dad, one of the most life-changing books ever written on financial education. By the end of this video, you'll understand why schools never teach you how to become rich, and how you can break free from the cycle of working for money, and instead make money work for you. Before we start, if you're serious about building wealth, make sure to hit the subscribe button, turn on the notification bell, and give this video a like, because trust me, this book can completely change your financial future. Chapter 1. The Rich Don't Work for Money. The book begins with young Robert Kiyosaki growing up in Hawaii, where he had two father figures. His real father, the poor dad, a highly educated man with a PhD, respected in society, but financially struggling his whole life. He believed in job security, hard work, and depending on a paycheck. His best friend's father, the rich dad, a businessman with little formal education, but with sharp financial intelligence. He believed in financial independence, entrepreneurship, and building assets that create wealth. This first chapter teaches us the biggest myth about money. Most people believe that working for money is the only way to survive. But the rich know money is a tool and it should be working for you. The childhood lesson. Robert, at just 9 years old, wanted to learn how to make money. He and his friend Mike went to Rich Dad for advice. Instead of giving them cash, Rich Dad gave them a lesson. He made them work in one of his stores for just 10 cents an hour, basically nothing. At first, Robert was angry. He felt he was being cheated. But this was the point. Rich Dad wanted to teach him that the poor and middle class get trapped because they work for money. They settle for low pay, depend on a paycheck, and get controlled by fear and desire. Fear. The fear of being broke forces people to work jobs they hate. Desire. The desire for money and comfort makes them spend, fall into debt, and keep working harder just to keep up. This cycle is called the rat race. Work, earn, spend, and repeat. The breakthrough. When Robert finally understood this, Rich Dad revealed the ultimate truth. The poor and middle class work for money. The rich make money work for them. This is why the rich don't chase salaries. They chase opportunities to build raw assets, arm businesses, investments, properties, that keep making money whether they work or not. The chapter ends with a powerful message. Financial education is more valuable than a paycheck. If you only learn to work for money, you'll always be a slave to it. But if you learn how money works, you can achieve true freedom. In Chapter 1, we learned the powerful truth that the poor and middle class work for money, while the rich make money work for them. That lesson alone can transform your mindset. But it's just the beginning, because the next step is to understand how the rich actually do this. And the secret lies in something schools never teach: financial literacy. Chapter 2. Why teach financial literacy? Robert's rich dad used to say, "It's not about how much money you make. It's about how much money you keep, how hard it works for you, and how many generations you keep it for. This is the foundation of wealth." The problem with schools. Think about it. Schools teach us math, science, history, but not how to manage money. That's why even doctors, lawyers, and professionals, people earning six-figure salaries, can still end up broke. Why? Because they don't understand the difference between an asset and a liability. The core lesson of Chapter 2. The rich focus on buying assets. The poor and middle class often buy liabilities, but they call them assets. For example, buying a car? That's a liability. It loses value and costs money in fuel, insurance, and maintenance. Buying a bigger house than you can afford? Liability, because it takes money out of your pocket each month in mortgage, taxes, repairs. Now compare that to assets. Rental properties that generate positive cash flow, stocks that pay dividends. A. business system that runs without you. Here's the simplest way. Rich Dad explained it to young Robert. Assets put money in your pocket. Liabilities take money out of your pocket. And the middle class often works hard to buy liabilities, cars, houses, gadgets, thinking they're building wealth. But in reality, they're digging deeper into the rat race. The cash flow pattern, Robert, shows 3 types of people. 1. Poor people. Money comes in and immediately goes out for expenses. Nothing is left. Middle class. Money comes in. They buy liabilities like cars, credit card debt, houses, so money still flows out. 3. Rich people. Money comes in, they buy assets first. Those assets generate more income, which then covers expenses and luxuries. This is why the rich get richer. Because their money is working for them 24/7. When Robert was young, he saw his poor dad constantly saying, "I can't afford it." But Rich Dad changed the wording. How can I afford it? That shift in language forces the brain to think creatively, to look for opportunities, and to build assets rather than liabilities. It's not about having more money. It's about learning how to keep money and make it grow. Pause for a second and think. Are you collecting assets or liabilities right now? Comment below. Just type asset. If you're focused on building wealth or liability, if you realize you've been spending on the wrong things, this simple awareness could change your financial destiny. And don't forget, if you're learning something powerful here, hit that like button and subscribe so you don't miss the breakdown of the next chapters. Because each one builds a stronger roadmap to financial freedom. In Chapter 2, we discovered the golden rule. The rich focus on buying assets, while the poor and middle class collect liabilities they mistake for assets. But here's the catch. Even if you understand assets versus liabilities, most people still can't take action. Why? Because of something hidden inside their mind. And that's exactly what Rich Dad reveals in Chapter 3, Mind Your Own Business. Chapter 3, Mind Your Own Business. Rich Dad explains that the average person spends their life building someone else's wealth. Think about it. You work for a company. You're building the owner's asset column. You pay taxes. You're funding the government. You pay your mortgage. You're enriching the bank. Meanwhile, most people neglect their own business, their asset column. The key lesson. The rich focus on their asset columns, while everyone else focuses on their income statements. Poor and middle-class people spend their lives worrying about job promotions, salary raises, and security. Rich people, they focus on building assets, businesses, investments, income streams. The real-life story. Robert saw this firsthand with his poor dad. His poor dad had a high-paying government job full of security and benefits. But at the end of the month, there was little money left. Why? Because his salary was immediately drained by taxes, loans, and expenses. Meanwhile, Rich Dad kept investing in real estate, businesses, and new opportunities. Even when he didn't work, his assets kept generating cash flow. This is why Rich Dad told him, the secret is to mind your own business. Meaning, always focus on building your asset column, not just your employer's. Practical example. Imagine you earn $3,000 a month. A poor mindset says, I need a bigger paycheck. A middle-class mindset says, I'll use my raise to buy a nicer car. A rich mindset says, I'll use part of this money to buy stocks, rental properties, or build a small side business that will eventually pay me forever. The difference is not income, but what you do with income. Robert's advice in Chapter 3. Keep your day job, but always use part of your income to buy assets. Don. Confuse your profession with your business. Your profession is what you do for money. Your business is what you build to escape the rat race. The rich don't quit their jobs. They build businesses on the side until they no longer need the job. That's how you mind your own business. In Chapter 3, we learned the importance of minding your own business, focusing on building your own assets, not just working for someone else's. But here's a deeper truth most people never realize. The financial system itself is built in a way that favors the rich. And in Chapter 4, Robert Kiyosaki breaks it down with brutal honesty. This is the history of taxes and the power of corporations. Chapter 4, the history of taxes and the power of corporations. Rich Dad explains something shocking. Taxes were originally created as a punishment for the rich. But over time, the government figured out a way to shift the burden to the middle class and the poor. The origin of taxes. In ancient times and even in early Europe, taxes were collected mainly from the rich. The masses supported the idea because they thought it was fair. Tax the rich to help society. But here's the twist. The rich are not stupid. They didn't just sit back and let their wealth drain away. Instead, they used corporations as a shield. The power of a corporation. Robert explains how a corporation is not just a building or a company. It's a legal entity, an invention of the rich. Think of a corporation like a powerful armor. It protects the rich from losing personal wealth. It gives them legal rights and tax advantages that normal employees don't get. Here's the big difference between how the rich and poor handle money. An employee, poor or middle class, earns, pays taxes, spends what's left. A corporation, the rich, earns, spends, pays taxes on what's left. Example, if you earn 100 tons as an employee and your tax rate is 30%, you're left with $70 to spend. But if a corporation earns 100, it can spend on expenses, travel, salaries, cars, business costs, before taxes. So the taxable income is much smaller. This means the rich legally pay less in taxes, not because they cheat, but because they understand the system. The core lesson, Rich Dad taught Robert that the rich use the combination of financial intelligence, law, and accounting to stay ahead. They don't just make money, they protect it. They build corporations that give them tax breaks. They hire accountants, lawyers, and advisors to make sure their wealth grows safely. Meanwhile, poor and middle-class people work harder, pay more in taxes, have fewer legal protections. This is why Rich Dad constantly said, the poor and middle class work for money. The rich have money work for them, and they use corporations as their shield. Story insight. Robert saw the difference firsthand. His poor dad, highly educated, hard-working, paid every tax the government demanded. He believed it was his duty. But his rich dad played the game smarter. He used corporations, investments, and tax laws to minimize what he paid. And instead of being punished, he was rewarded with more wealth. This was a shocking realization. The system rewards financial knowledge, not hard work. In Chapter 4, we uncovered the hidden truth. The tax system and corporations are designed to benefit those with financial knowledge. Now let's take it one step further, because it's not enough to protect money. The real secret of the rich is that they create money. And that's exactly what Chapter 5 is about. The rich invent money. Chapter 5. The rich invent money. Rich Dad used to tell Robert and Mike, money is not real. It's just an idea. The more you train your mind to spot opportunities, the more money you can create. This means wealth is not limited to your job or salary. The rich don't wait for money to come. They use creativity, knowledge, and courage to invent opportunities. The big difference in thinking. Poor and middle-class mindset. I can't afford it. I need a raise. I wish I had a better job. Rich mindset. How can I afford it? Where is the opportunity in this situation? How can I create value that generates money? This mental shift is the foundation of wealth. Story lesson, the stock market. Robert shares how Rich Dad trained him to see opportunities. Where others saw problems, when most people fear stock market crashes, the rich look for bargains. When most people complain about real estate prices, the rich look for hidden deals. Why? Because the rich don't see scarcity, they see possibility. 2 key ingredients: knowledge plus courage. Knowledge. Financial education teaches you how money works, how investments grow, and how to evaluate risks. Without this, opportunities will pass you by. Courage. Even with knowledge, fear holds people back. Rich Dad said, Most people never win because they're afraid of losing. The rich understand that failure is part of learning. That's why, while the poor wait for the perfect time, the rich act, experiment, and create money-making opportunities. Robert's own example. Robert started small. Instead of saving every penny like his poor dad advised, he used his financial knowledge to spot opportunities in real estate and small businesses, one deal at a time. He created cash flow that eventually freed him from needing a paycheck. This is what he means by inventing money. It's not printing it, it's creating opportunities others can't see. Core lesson of Chapter 5. Opportunities are everywhere. It's your financial education and courage that decide whether you see them or miss them. Poor and middle-class people believe opportunities are rare and risky. The rich know opportunities are abundant, if you know how to look. In Chapter 5, we discovered that the rich don't wait for opportunities, they invent them. By using knowledge and courage, they see possibilities others miss. But there's still one problem. What if you don't yet have the knowledge? What if you don't yet see the opportunities? That's where Chapter 6 comes in. Rich Dad explained, work to learn. Don't work for money. Chapter 6. Work to learn. Don't work for money. When Robert was young, he asked Rich Dad, how do I become rich if I don't have money? Rich Dad's reply was powerful. Don't focus on earning money. Focus on learning skills. The poor dad versus rich dad mentality. Poor dad's advice, go to school, get a degree, specialize in one field, and get a safe job. His belief, expertise in one area, job security. Rich dad's advice, don't specialize too early. Instead, learn a variety of skills, sales, marketing, investing, leadership, communication. His belief, diverse skills, financial freedom. This is why Rich Dad pushed Robert into different roles, not to make money, but to make him learn the real-life story. At one point, Robert was working at Xerox, not because he loved selling copiers, but because he wanted to learn sales skills. Why? Because Rich Dad explained, you can have the best ideas in the world, but if you can't sell them, you'll go broke. Robert hated selling at first, but he forced himself to learn. Eventually, this skill helped him raise money for investments, build businesses, and inspire people with his ideas. The core lesson of Chapter 6. Most people work only for security. They stay at jobs they hate because of the paycheck. They avoid learning new skills because it's uncomfortable. They chase promotions, not education. The rich flip this around. They work for growth. They take jobs to learn, not just to earn. They value experience over comfort. They know that once you master high-income skills, money will always follow. Practical breakdown. Here are the 3 key skills Rich Dad says you must learn. Sales and marketing, the ability to sell, persuade, and communicate. Investing and money management, the ability to make money grow. Systems and leadership, the ability to build businesses that run without you. These skills together make you financially unstoppable. In Chapter 6, we learned the golden rule. Don't just work for money, work to learn. The rich build diverse skills like sales, leadership, and investing that give them freedom for life. But here's the truth. Even if you know what to do, even if you have the skills, something will still try to stop you. And that's what Chapter 7 is all about. Overcoming obstacles. Chapter 7. Overcoming obstacles. Rich Dad explained that the road to wealth is not smooth. It's full of challenges that most people fail to overcome. Robert identifies 5 main obstacles that stop people from becoming rich. 1. Fear. Fear of losing money. Fear of taking risks. Fear of failing. Poor Dad always said, play it safe. Don't take risks. But Rich Dad said, if you want to be rich, you must learn how to manage risk, not avoid it. The truth is, everyone fears losing money, even the rich. But the difference is, the rich don't let fear control their actions. They see failure as a lesson, not a dead end. 2. Cynicism. This is the voice of doubt, either from within yourself or from others around you. What if it doesn't work? The economy is bad. Real estate is risky. Poor Dad often focused on why things wouldn't work. Rich Dad trained Robert to ask, "How can I make this work?" 3. Laziness. Sounds strange, right? Most people say they're busy. But Rich Dad explained that busyness is often an excuse to avoid doing the important things. Example, people will work long hours at their jobs, but say they're too busy to learn about investing, start a side hustle or build assets. Rich Dad called this busy laziness. 4. Bad habits. Robert's poor dad had the habit of paying everyone else first. Bills, taxes, expenses, and then saving what was left, which was usually nothing. Rich Dad taught the opposite habit. Pay yourself first. Put money into your asset column before you pay expenses. This forces your mind to find ways to cover the rest. 5. Arrogance. Arrogance is when people don't know something but pretend they do. Instead of learning, they dismiss opportunities. Rich Dad's advice: stay humble, stay curious, and always keep learning. The moment you think you know it all, your growth stops. Core lesson of Chapter 7. Everyone wants to be rich, but very few overcome these 5 obstacles. The poor let fear and doubt control them. The middle class let bad habits and busyness keep them trapped. The rich face the same obstacles, but they overcome them with knowledge, courage, and discipline. That's why Rich Dad always said, "The difference between the rich and everyone else is not money. It's how they handle fear, doubt, laziness, habits, and arrogance." In Chapter 7, we saw the 5 biggest obstacles that stop people from becoming rich: fear, doubt, laziness, bad habits, and arrogance. Now the question is, once you know the obstacles, how do you actually start? That's exactly what Rich Dad answers in Chapter 8, Getting Started. Chapter 8, Getting Started. Robert explains that most people want to be rich, but they never take the first step. They wait for the right time, or they think they need a lot of money to begin. Rich Dad disagreed. He said, start small. Use what you have. Build the habit of growing assets. The 10 steps to getting started. In this chapter, Robert lays out 10 practical steps to begin your journey toward wealth. 1. I need a reason greater than reality. Why do you want to be rich? Freedom? Security? Family? Without a strong why, you'll quit when things get tough. 2. I choose daily. Every day you decide whether to grow your asset column or stay in the rat race. The choice is yours. Spend on liabilities or invest in assets. 2. I master the power of learning. The more you learn, the more opportunities you see. Commit to lifelong financial education. 4. I make friends with smart people. Surround yourself with people who are smarter than you. Accountants, investors, entrepreneurs. Your network becomes your net worth. 5. I learn quickly. Failure is your teacher. Don't fear mistakes. Learn, adjust, and move forward. 6. I pay myself first. Save and invest before paying bills or expenses. This forces you to prioritize assets. 7. I pay my brokers well. Don't be cheap when it comes to expertise. Good financial advisors, accountants, and mentors will save you more than they cost. 8. I am the master of my money. Control emotions like fear and greed. Money is a tool, not your master. 9. I do what's right for me. Don't follow the crowd. Just because everyone buys a bigger house or a new car doesn't mean you should. Stay focused on your goals. 10. I give and I receive. The rich understand the power of generosity. Giving creates value, relationships, and blessings that come back multiplied. The core lesson of Chapter 8. Rich Dad taught Robert that wealth is not built overnight. It's a process of daily choices, building skills and growing assets step by step. Most people don't start because they think it's too hard or they don't have enough money. But the truth is, you can start with small amounts, even 10 or 100, as long as you are consistent and disciplined. The rich start where they are, with what they have. The poor wait for the perfect moment, which never comes. We learned the 10 steps to get started, from paying yourself first, to surrounding yourself with smart people, to choosing daily habits that grow your assets. But if you're still wondering, okay, what exactly should I do tomorrow morning to move toward financial freedom? That's where Chapter 9 comes in. Still want more? Here are some to-dos. Chapter 9. Still want more? Here are some to-dos. Robert ends the book with practical actions. These are not abstract theories. They are things you can start doing today. 1. Stop doing what doesn't work. If something keeps you broke, like working endless hours but never saving, or buying liabilities thinking they're assets, stop repeating it. Change requires breaking old patterns. 2. Look for new ideas. Stay open-minded. Read books, attend seminars, listen to podcasts, study what successful people are doing. Opportunities hide in new ideas. 3. Find heroes to model. Instead of reinventing the wheel, learn from those who already succeeded. Study Warren Buffett for investing, Elon Musk for innovation, or local business mentors in your area. 4. Teach and you shall receive. The best way to learn something is to teach it. Share financial lessons with friends, family, or even online. Teaching forces you to understand deeper. 5. Take action. Most people wait for the perfect plan. The rich know perfection never comes. Start small, take imperfect action, and adjust along the way. 6. Start small investments. Robert suggests experimenting with small amounts. Buy a few shares of stock. Try a small piece of real estate. Build a side hustle. The experience is more valuable than waiting for a big opportunity. 7. Stay curious and keep learning. Wealth is not a one-time achievement. It's a lifelong journey. Keep learning about money, markets, and opportunities. The core lesson of Chapter 9. Rich Dad's final advice is simple. Don't just read about money. Don't just think about it. Do something. Start today. Even small steps compound into massive results over time. This is the difference between dreamers and doers. The poor dream of getting rich. The rich take action and keep taking action until wealth becomes inevitable. In Chapter 9, we explored practical to-dos, from stopping what doesn't work to taking small actions and modeling heroes. Now, we're at the final chapter of Rich Dad, Poor Dad, the conclusion. This is where Robert Kiyosaki delivers his closing message to everyone who wants to escape the rat race and live a life of true financial freedom. Chapter 10. The conclusion. Robert reflects on his journey and the two father figures who shaped his life. Poor Dad, educated, hard-working, but trapped in the rat race. He valued job security and traditional success. Rich Dad, a businessman who understood money, assets, and the mindset of financial freedom. He reminds us that we all have a choice. Do we follow the path of the poor dad, working hard but never breaking free? Or do we learn the lessons of the rich dad, building assets, mastering money, and creating financial independence? Key lessons from the entire book. The rich don't work for money, they make money work for them. Financial literacy matters. Assets versus liabilities is the foundation of wealth. Mindset is everything. Fear, doubt, and habits either trap you or set you free. Action creates results. Knowledge without execution is useless. Start small, but start now. Wealth is built over time, one decision at a time. Robert's final warning. Most people will read this book, nod their head, and then go back to their old life. Only a few will actually take action. Rich Dad's wisdom is clear. There are thousands of opportunities all around you, but you must see them, and more importantly, you must act. Robert's final encouragement. The road to financial freedom isn't easy. It requires courage, discipline, and persistence. But the reward is worth it. Freedom of time, freedom from money stress, and the ability to live life on your own terms. The core closing message: the choice is yours. Will you be like the majority, educated, hardworking but stuck in the rat race? Or will you take Rich Dad's path, mastering money, building assets, and creating freedom for yourself and your family? Because the future belongs to those who take action. If this journey through Rich Dad, Poor Dad has inspired you, don't let it stop here. Take one step, however small, to grow your financial intelligence this week. Read another book, start a savings plan, launch a small investment, and most importantly, Don't keep this wisdom to yourself. Share it with someone you care about. If you enjoyed this complete breakdown, smash that like button, subscribe for more life-changing book summaries, and hit the bell so you never miss an episode. This is not just about money, it's about freedom, power, and the life you deserve. Remember, don't work for money, make money work for you. I'll see you in the next video.